This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to the Nerdcast on ProjectNerd.com.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
I knew it. I knew you were bluffing. I knew he was bluffing.
You're listening to the Nerdcast.
We're just like Kevin Bacon.
With Adam, Bob, Iggy, and Tyler.
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Only on Project Nerd.
So they've got the image with like the father like holding his son's hand, and they're like walking in front of the Millennium Falcon, and they're like the only people in the shot. It's like what Disney says Galaxy Edge will be like, what Galaxy Edge will actually be like, and it's just somebody photoshopped in like a million people.
Have you read any of the articles of like press people who got to go and do some of the stuff? So there's people who, their press people have gotten to go now to the one in California, and like there's an article, I think someone from IO9 or Gizmodo got to go, and some other places. There's some articles of people who have been there.
Right.
Like the rides aren't all functional yet, but like they can see the stuff.
So it's the Nerdcast, episode 186. Adam and Tyler here. Bob is here as well, and of course myself, Iggy. How you doing this week, gentlemen?
Pretty good, buddy.
Good.
All right. We're talking Star Wars Galaxy Edge. So the rumors be that the Disney board meeting on Thursday, March 7th, so the day before this airs, is the day that they will be announcing the opening day for Star Wars Galaxy Edge. I can't give you a date, but as we were talking before we started recording, due to some information I might have, I can confirm those aren't rumors. It will be announced. So we'll probably throw it up on the site when it happens and everything, but obviously we record before that Thursday, so we're not allowed to discuss it. But as we're talking about, it is going to be a big, big deal. And
Is this a Project Nerd exclusive?
No, we're not giving anything exclusive.
No. No, it is not.
It's a day job exclusive, and that's why it's not on the podcast.
Okay.
But it's exciting. I know they're already jacking up ticket prices. They're already getting that ready. And they're already, like Adam said, releasing promo images with not too many people in the crowd. Although we know you're going to barely be able to walk through those sidewalks, at least through the first few years, maybe.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, I went to Harry Potter World and Universal Islands of Adventure in Orlando the second weekend it was open. So it was like kickoff weekend. All the huge famous stars are there. 5 days. And then I was there.
You're crazy.
Oh, dude, it was nuts. So, I mean, like, so it was a 3-hour line just to get into that part of the park. Like, I wasn't a ride for the line. That was not a line for a ride, not a line for anything other than to be standing in that portion of the park. I can only imagine what it's going to be like for a Star Wars park.
I was going to say, did you actually get on the rides?
Yeah. So we waited in the 3-hour line to get into the park, waited in a 45-minute line to get a butterbeer because we were friggin' thirsty because we just been standing in a 3-hour long line. Then went and got in a 2.5-hour long line for the big ride, like the one inside Hogwarts Castle and everything. Yeah.
I hate you because I went maybe a couple summers ago. I was down there for a wedding and I got tickets on the same day to go to both parks because I wanted to go to both of the Harry Potter rides. And basically, as soon as I got to both rides shut down.
So welcome to Flashback Friday, where when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is about to open, we're going to give you a full rundown of our experiences at Harry Potter World. So who's the first Nerdcast member to make it to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
I want to really try to make it, but yeah, you're right. Like when it first opens, it's going to be...
What do you mean, like first weekend? I mean, up the
four
I
know.
Of us.
I just know. I mean, I have an easy in because my sister lives in Huntington Beach. So, like, if I can just go stay with my sister, I definitely have plans of doing it at some point in the very near future.
Be like, hey, sis, I'm just coming out to visit. Oh, I got some things to take care of today. I'll see you.
I mean,
probably tomorrow.
Her and her boyfriend will 100% be on board, and his kids and stuff. Like, we'll make a whole thing.
And then you guys run into each other in line then when you go separate ways in there. Oh, hey, you're here too. All right, so Star Wars Galaxy Edge, obviously Disney making the big announcement this week ahead of the meeting. And something else going on with Disney this week. A certain movie release, I guess is what we could say here. The real reviews are rolling in. Captain Marvel is being painted in a more positive light now that the...
Shocking.
The
world is shocked.
The trolls are now being put to the side. Reviews are coming in. Captain Marvel looks fantastic. One of the coolest things, I think, was when Brie Larson said, the press has to be diverse. Like, I don't want just a bunch of white bearded guys, aka people like the Nerdcast, hanging around the red carpet and doing all the questions and interviews. And so the photo gallery, I don't know if you guys have seen it, fantastic. Little girls asking questions to Brie Larson. She's posing in pictures with them, all of that. It's super cool. Looked like a super great experience. But we're finally not only here to Captain Marvel, we're also almost here to the Avengers Endgame. We're almost done with the first, I don't want to say the first phase because we're through multiple phases, but the first group of Avengers, they're almost done. But Captain Marvel, we all four have our tickets, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right. This is the first movie in like how long that all four of us are going to see it opening weekend. I don't even know.
What's Guardians of the Galaxy? Was that the last one, or
that? I think that we recorded afterwards.
Yeah,
I feel like would we have all seen Avengers opening weekend last year? Yeah, I feel like we would have.
I feel like we had to have all seen
at least Avengers or Black Panther.
Avengers or Black Panther at the latest. Yeah.
Yeah. The only way I could see it not happening is if I waited one weekend for my kids, but I don't remember doing that. So I felt like we were able to talk about each of those the week after. We just don't do any special episodes anymore because we're all so busy. But Captain Marvel, so telling you right now, there's potential for spoilers in episode 187 of the Nerdcast because we're all seeing it. And I am almost certain an end credit scene is going to drop something huge.
Oh, we're going to need to talk. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. There's going to be something leading into Endgame here. But Disney, obviously big announcements on Thursday, big movie on Friday. So the question is, Bob, you probably know this. What's the projection for Captain Marvel this weekend?
I've seen everything from 140 to about 170 million.
Okay, so let's go with the 170. Let's do the high one. Over under. Bob, over under 170 million Friday through Sunday take. Well, Thursday night through Sunday take.
I'm going to go under.
Under 170 million. Okay, Tyler, over under 170 million.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, the pre-sales have been really strong.
Yeah.
Weather's still sort of a factor in some areas this weekend. I'm gonna say 170 right on the nose.
You're gonna say, okay, so you're going even. All right.
Tyler's got to push.
I'm going
Tyler's
push.
got to push.
Adam, what you got for us? Over under $170 million for Captain Marvel.
I'm gonna have to say under because I didn't think it was gonna get that high. So if the projections are 140 to 170, I would have guessed around 125, 130.
I'm going over then. I'm gonna just mainly because nobody else is going over, but second of all, because it's daylight savings time, we get that extra hour of sleep. So Sunday's just gonna have an extra boost because everybody's gonna be well relaxed.
No, you spring forward, you weirdo.
Spring forward. Do we?
Yeah,
you lose.
Yeah.
No, we lose an hour.
Oh,
you lose an
damn
hour
it.
of sleep.
I'm
You
in
gain
the
an
wrong
hour.
time.
You gain an hour of sunlight.
Okay, so what I meant to
All
say is everybody's going to be grouchy, so they're going to go to the movie. That's what I meant. Everybody heard it that way. Nothing else.
Now, here's the question, because we've talked about it a lot, of how important to everyone in the box office worldwide is. Like, what's the worldwide number for this weekend? Because it's opening in quite a few countries this first weekend.
Is it opening in China?
It is.
That's the big question.
I don't think it's opening in China. I think right now the projections for the weekend are like 350 opening weekend.
What countries you got on? Do you got a list there?
I'm going to
know some of these countries before I say 350 over under.
Hey, while he's looking, Iggy, do we have any conventions going on that weekend that Endgame comes out?
What weekend does Endgame come out?
Last weekend of April?
No, we're pretty dormant in April, May. But since you brought that up and he's looking, we can talk about Planet Comic-Con coming up March 29th through March 31st. Catch Project Nerd at Kansas City.
That was a segue.
There you go. April, I want to say is it 14th through 16th, 13th through 15th, whatever that weekend is there. So wait, 7, yeah,
it's
12th
the
through 14th.
Weekend.
12th through 14th is both will have coverage of Star Wars Celebration up in Chicago, as well as DINK, the Denver Independent Comic Expo here in Denver. But other than that, we are April 7th, the weekend before, Lions Film Festival. So we do have 3 weekends in a row of some good, exciting fun. But then, yes, we get some time off to prepare for Avengers Endgame.
So far, Iggy has incorrectly determined which way we adjust our clocks and said we have a very dormant April, and then listed 4 things we're doing in April.
Only 3 events. Only
3 things we're doing in April. Sorry. Good God, man.
Anyways.
I need you to tighten up, Iggy.
Tyler, where are you at on these countries?
I am. All right, here we go. So this weekend, it will be opening in USA, Colombia, Denmark, Finland, France, Indonesia, Italy, Kuwait, Morocco, Malaysia, Netherlands, Norway, Philippines, Portugal, Sweden, Slovenia, Taiwan, Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Germany, Georgia, Greece, Hungary, Israel, South Korea, Kazakhstan, Romania, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Slovakia. I mean, it's going to open in
pretty much all of Europe and all of South America.
Oh, yeah, it opens in China on the 8th, which would be, is that Saturday? Friday. So between Thursday,
China weekend. This is going
the only two countries it will not open in before the 8th will be Japan and Nigeria.
Yeah. Nigeria is going to riot.
UK gets it. So what are the big ones? UK,
by time we record next week, that will be well over 350 million worldwide, easily.
Yeah, for sure. There's no way. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time it releases here, well, I guess we'll get the Thursday night. I was gonna say China's ahead of us, so they would already have pushed it over 350 million possibly, but good God.
I'm gonna call over on that on that 350.
350? Oh, easy. Especially if I'm calling over on 170, I have to call over on 350. No, I'm going to go over 170 domestically, just under 350 globally. I don't think China's going to pull very far. The Wandering Earth's still taking up a lot of screens over there right now, guys. I don't know.
Pull your weight, China.
Pull your weight. There you go. Okay. So, yeah, that's a pretty global opening. And not only China, but South America's really been churning out the box office results here lately, too. So, safe to say there. Should have a good run. I don't think we'll see the run we saw last spring from Black Panther, but should be successful nonetheless, and we're all looking forward to it. I am excited. My kiddos are looking forward to it as well. That's the big release. Adam, you're looking forward to it as well?
I'm super excited. Yeah, buddy.
I said we all are excited. That includes you, Adam. You're included in when I say we all for the podcast.
I was hoping to be included as one of your kids, but
okay. No, I'm not going to pay to feed you though. So, all right. What else is that? I'm assuming we have nothing else of decent stature opening this weekend too. Then I haven't looked, to be honest.
If there's something else that's opening, the studio is pretty stupid.
Some executive is getting fired somewhere on Monday, or was already fired this Monday, one or the other. But I don't think
somebody's gonna sneak something big in there.
Yeah, I mean, I see a few things on the list, and none of them are anything I've even heard of.
And they'll all be on Netflix.
So speaking of Netflix, interesting events have unfolded this past week. Steven Spielberg has led there was the meeting. So the board for the Academy, during the meeting of the board for the Academy, went and presented on why he believes Netflix and obviously Amazon and Hulu and those should not be included. Only the, as he said, major studios should be allowed to vie for these major awards, and that the Emmys should pick up movie categories for these streaming services.
So let's be clear on what his exact quote was. And he said, quote, "Once you commit to a television format, you're a TV movie. You certainly, if it's a good show, deserve an Emmy, but not an Oscar. I don't believe films that are just given token qualifications in a couple of theaters for less than a week should qualify for the Academy Award nomination."
So what about the limited movies that the quote-unquote independent wings of these studios release for just a couple weeks in the year for award season?
Yeah, but those are exclusive and arty things. They're not, they don't, the unwashed masses don't get to watch them the next day. So that's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I can get where he's coming from, but there's no way that he comes out good in that, looking good in this. Like, and already many people from the Academy and all over like entertainment have come out and said like, stop being an old man trying to get people off your
right. Road. Yeah, exactly. Looking a little like the angry old man here for sure.
Also,
the buddy next to him and sit behind a.
Also, the first movie that made his career that got him noticed by people was a TV movie. Like, TV movie is what got him into like getting to make real movies. So, also, as much as enjoyable it was. There was a funny article. I think it was on maybe IO9 or Kotaku, one of the Gizmodo sites, where they were basically like, the guy who made Ready Player One doesn't get to tell anybody about what fucking qualifies for an Academy Award.
Right. Ready Player One did have a nomination, though. So I don't know. I think Netflix's response even made Spielberg look a little bit worse because their response wasn't combative or anything. It was just, we believe that people in rural areas, people that can't afford to go to theaters, all this stuff, they kind of defended all the lessers, I guess is what you would put in terms of what is here. So the people that need those opportunities to see movies. And again, as you said, because this already just doesn't look good. Spielberg's not wearing this well. That did not help. And to be honest, I mean, look at what we've seen come out of Netflix and Amazon, especially the past few years. Amazon has put some good stuff out there. The Big Sick
was fantastic. Yeah.
A Beautiful Boy, and what's the love one with Oscar Isaac? Love Itself, right?
Life Itself.
Life
Like
Itself. Thank you.
Now to be fair, in his defense, I mean, like, he didn't go after them because Amazon, for the most part, with things like the big series, has observed like the rules. Like, movies are made, Amazon bought them, Amazon paid to release them in theaters like real movies, and then put them on their service. Netflix isn't doing that. Netflix is having movies made for Netflix that come out on Netflix and then get thrown in a few theaters for a couple weeks to meet the minimum requirements. So I mean, I think part of it where he's coming from is
minimum requirements is still rules. If they met the minimum requirements, they're playing by the same rules Amazon is or whoever else.
It's an extension of that, you know, our tour. I can't think of the word. You speak tonight, but that our tour director speak for, like, you know, the guys who are, you have to shoot on film, you can't shoot in this, you have to see it in 70 millimeter, you have to see it in a theater experience. And there is something to be said about the theater experience. And I love seeing movies in the theater, but the rules for the Academy, like, you need to decide, is the Academy Awards for achievements in cinema and achievements in movie making, or is it achievements in movies, I mean, in theater, you know, like in movies that get shown in movie theaters? Because, like, you can make a movie, you can make an amazing movie and not have it, doesn't necessarily have to be seen in theater. Also, there's a big difference between 30 years ago watching a movie made for theaters on your shitty 32-inch tube television in standard definition and watching it on your 89-inch HDR 4K television with Dolby Sonos surround, you know, in your dedicated movie chair in your living room. Also, fuck off, Stephen. When was the last time you actually stood in line and bought a $30 ticket to watch a movie theater with, like, normal humans?
I also want to start an also counter for Tyler here at the bottom. Also, but no, you good point. And Amazon does play a little bit. They do put it out more and I don't want to say Netflix doesn't.
They just do it more traditionally, right? So Netflix meets all of the requirements. If they're unhappy with those requirements, change the requirements. But you're going to piss off a lot of quote unquote traditional studios as well. So they're playing by the rules. They're just doing it in their own way.
But, you know, one of the things that, you know, came up this year with Roma is when they originally advertised it, it said that it would be playing in selected theaters and then on Netflix. When they did the preview for the Irishman, it didn't say anything about limited. It's gonna say in theaters whenever in the fall and then on Netflix. So maybe they are changing a little bit to appease that type of
I don't see them doing it. I see them putting it out during an award show, that commercial. I don't see them actually doing it. And even if they do like they did with Roma. They release it for the couple weekends in the couple cities, and they don't tell anybody box office numbers. They don't share anything.
I could see Netflix doing more traditional releases down the road just because they could use the cash flow, just because of the sheer bucket loads of money they're throwing at directors, stuff like that. Now, granted, if they do try to go more traditional, I could see them getting shut out of theaters. I could see, you know, the Disneys of the world being like, no, you don't get to show Netflix films if you want the next Star Wars movie or thing like that. But I think the biggest argument in Netflix's favor, which is what a lot of people at the Academy have echoed, is not so much the in theater versus home, not so much the made for TV Emmy Academy Award thing. It's the fact that it's really hard to get independent art house Academy worthy movies made today. And Netflix is one of the few places out there that will literally give money to anyone who has a vision and wants to make their movie. Whereas everyone else has to basically pony up the money themselves, find investors, and then take it to the festival circuit and just hope that someone will be willing to buy it from them. Very true. And the other thing too is the argument's now coming up louder now, but we've had for a while now, them at least on the documentary side, you know, competing. This isn't the first year Netflix has been nominated for an award, just the first year it's been up for Best Picture. And final point is we're not talking, you even said they'll give it to anybody. The movies we're talking about that they tried to get the attention with were not anybody. We had Coen brothers, we had, you know, Karan, we had big names here. We've got Scorsese coming up. We just talked about, I don't even remember like all the names now that is going to be working with Netflix. If you dig through all of the Netflix original movies that are on Netflix, they threw a lot of money, a lot of people who ain't nobody got time for that, who swing and miss. Like there's a lot of not great ones there, but like they've decided like we're going to spend, I think over the last couple of years, something like $15 billion. We're going to throw money at creators and see what happens. And for every Roma, there might be a couple not so great ones. There might, what was the answer? There's some really good ones.
I can't think of that horror movie that I watched that was really, really good on there that I know wouldn't have gotten made. And if it had gotten made, it would have been a straight to video anyway. I think it's fantastic. People are willing to take bigger risks in their watching habits even because, oh, well, I'm not paying for this. So yeah, I'll give this a try. We're getting more movies. I'm on board with that for sure.
Would people actually go see Bird Box in a theater more than saw that on Netflix?
I mean, would any of one gone to the theater and saw The Ridiculous Six? Or any of the
I still haven't watched
Sandler's one. That's what I'm saying.
No.
I think overall here, it's because this isn't just impacting the Oscars, obviously. The streaming services has impacted the way we've looked at television series at the Emmys. A few years back now, but I remember early arguments on the Emmys when you first started seeing some of these streaming, or not only Emmys, but Golden Globes, the streaming services get their series nominated. I think it's just, you got to have the conversation of how do we look at this? And as you pointed out, Adam, you make the decision, you put it out there, you piss off who you're going to piss off. The problem is, since it's the Academy, they'll make a decision, then retract it, then make a different decision, then retract it, and then make a different decision, and once again retract it.
The way they stick to their guns is really what I admire most about them.
Really? Is that what it is?
Just how this is what we're doing, and we're gonna change the way people do stuff.
So I know that I had suggested to it. I don't know if anyone actually watched it, but the two of you almost pitch perfected a callback to a joke that gets used on Letterkenny all the time.
I haven't started it yet.
I as of last night, I have watched all 6 seasons of it.
Really? Just last week's episode, you're like, I'd started and watched 5 episodes, I think is where you were.
Well, each season's only like 7 episodes, like 6 episodes of the regular series, and then they do a holiday special every year, so a 7th episode. So six seasons is only like 42 episodes, but I have watched all 42 of them.
Right. It's only like one season of Supernatural.
Right. So other big news this week, we do have some trailers we'll get to in a little bit, but we want to talk some casting news. We're right where, when we're recording, we're right in that weird spot to where some articles are calling it rumor, some articles are kind of taking it more seriously. Cillian Murphy set up to possibly replace Daniel Craig as James Bond here. We had some serious debate on it already before we started recording. 3 of us on board, one's not so much.
It's definitely Cillian Murphy. You got to.
Sorry.
Just so we're clear, it's Cillian Murphy.
Sorry, very much sorry. But anyways, what is the news on this? Are we still, because just the week before we had Craig back for the next Bond, and now we're getting this.
I haven't actually read it. I saw the headlines and I was like, I'm okay with it.
So I'm looking at another one too. And again, it's some say rumor, some say it's happening. There's all the talk about the betting odds and everything. Big thing is, I think Murphy, the argument we're having earlier is, can you see him as Bond? And I said, I've been talking about it a lot lately because I just got done watching all 4 seasons of that. Peaky Blinders really has sold me that he has the ability for this role because he takes on the lead old school mobster, has to woo all the women, fight the people, lead the team. I think he's got it. I think he can do it.
I 100% think he can do it. I would think and granted, he looks a lot younger than he is. The only thing, he would have to be the oldest person to take on the Bond role for the first time, wouldn't he? He's 42.
Is he 42?
Craig was in his late 30s. Brosnan was, I think, right at 40, maybe 41. Obviously, Connery was significantly younger, as was Roger Moore and Lazenby. I don't know how old Dalton was, but he would have to be the oldest person to be playing it for the first time, I would think.
That's an interesting thing we'd have to dig up there.
And also, do you want to hire someone who's, unless you're only planning to use him for 1 or 2 movies, but that's how the Broccoli's work. Do you want to hire someone who's 42 now, knowing that he might be 50 by the time he makes his second one? Because the Bonds don't come out, they're not an every year kind of movie. They're a once every 5-6 year kind of movie.
I feel like with Craig, we were getting him a little bit more frequently than that.
I think every 3 or 4 years with Craig.
So it is a good point though. You're not going to get too many out of him at this age. But he does, as you pointed out, looked younger. I would have not guessed him 42.
Yeah, he looks younger than, I think everybody would be on board with Idris Elba taking the role, and he definitely looks younger than Idris Elba, I think. If you sat them side by side, be like, yeah, okay.
Well, let's put it this way. How long ago do you think, how many years ago, just without looking, just off the top of your head, how many years ago do you think Casino Royale came out?
2012.
Came out in 2006. Came out
wow.
ago. So Daniel Craig was 38 in the first one. He's now 51.
He hasn't aged a bit. Doing pretty good there.
Yeah,
it's all that Pilates.
Right, that Pilates.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. So I think, Bob, what was your argument was a little bit against?
Like I said, I honestly don't see him as the action romantic lead. I'm still kind of for Tom Hardy, even though you guys think he's a little bit, what's that word I'm looking for.
Too
Quirky,
buff, too big,
too buff, too short, too buff, too many tattoos. I don't know.
too incredible.
I just don't know about Murphy. I just really don't think he is, lack of a better word, Bond material.
I think the only issue, I think he's 100% Bond material. I think Tyler mentioned it in passing. The only issue right now is that he is almost identical to Ben Wenshaw, who plays Q, who's very clearly not the same person as Bond. And if you put them side by side, you'd be like, yeah, neither of you are superheroes or even like regular heroes. Now, if they're not in the same room, if they never interact in the movie and you just see them in different scenes, then you could probably get away with it.
Well, you can't do that. Q's got to give him the gear.
He does, right. I mean,
but at the same time, Wishaw's definitely a lot scrawnier, and I don't know if any of y'all have seen him lately. He looks like he's aged quite a bit, actually. He looked super young just in the past couple of years, and now is starting to show his age a little bit. I get what you're saying, but Murphy's got good 30, 40 pounds of muscle on him, I would say. So I don't know. We will see by the time this airs. It might be fact, it might be dismissed as rumor. But before you guys get too worried about it, remember, he was second to Christian Bale for Batman. That's why he got into Nolan's trilogy, because he was actually being very strongly considered to take on the role of Bruce Wayne. In other interesting, not real casting news, I guess is what we'd say it. Metal Gear Solid movie is in the works. I think we've talked about it briefly before. And there's a certain actor, I think, Adam, you might want to talk about this one a little bit, who's ready to throw in for the role.
Yeah, I don't know about not real. I mean, it's not real in that it's not confirmed, but the director's like, yeah, let's do this. And the actor's like, yeah, let's do this. Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake, I will take that to the bank. The director got somebody to Photoshop him in, and oh my gosh, you guys saw that link, right? I shared it. Yeah, so I mean, like, the whole thing is everybody involved with it, and Oscar Isaac saw it, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna throw my hat in this, my name in this hat and make this happen. I'd be really interested. I think he'd be a very, very good Solid Snake. I shared in our group that I think Solid Snake is basically just a slightly deadlier Llewyn Davis.
Which made me want to watch that movie again, by the way.
It should.
So I want to state two things for the record on this. One is, I mean, before I state those two things, I will say I'm 100% on board with him being Solid Snake. I'm okay with it. I do have two things that I need to get off my chest beforehand. Number one, back the fuck off of him until he's finished making Dune. He's busy right now. All right? That comes first. Number two, you get to use his ideas, but do not let Kojima anywhere near the script for the actual movie. Because his weird-ass meandering nonsense makes for a great video game, but do not let him write the script for the movie.
Oh, he's really tied up in Death Stranding. I think that game's still 3 years out.
And real quick, if we leave everybody in Hollywood that's involved with Dune alone, we have no movies until Dune comes out, because everybody's in
that
Dune.
That is perfectly okay.
It'll be super worth it. Don't you worry. It'll be
so
worth it.
It'll be so worth it.
All right, so that's some fun casting news we got there. As always, we got a good series of trailers dropped this week, and some interesting ones to talk about for sure. Day of recording, Tuesday, you can catch it over at Project Nerd. The Game of Thrones final season, season 8 trailer dropped, and Arya Stark talking a big game at the beginning of that trailer, but it's voiced over her running and panicking for her life. So, and Queen Cersei's looking like she's going to follow through with that little bit of evilness that we saw at the end of season 7. I'll avoid too much for those who haven't caught up, but are we ready? April, also April 14th. We've mentioned that date a couple times now.
I don't know why you said that. People, you do need to catch up.
Well,
This is the last season, guys.
They have till April 14th, so
get to work.
They've got a few weeks.
Right. If you start now, the number of episodes you have to watch each night is getting higher and higher every day. So you need to start now.
So where are you guys at? You and Laura at?
We went off the rails, Bob.
Are you done? Are you done already?
No.
Are you stopped?
No, we stopped because we both were like, "Hey, we're going to read the book and watch the TV show," and oh man, that's a lot of George R.R. Martin.
That was almost the same commitment of nobody working on anything else except Dune. You've nothing else is happening in your life.
Right, exactly. I mean, I had work, I had other things going on. So we're halfway through season 2. I mean, we made it.
It's further than I made it. Again.
I mean, it's a lot of TV, you guys. Oh,
it is. It is. Those aren't short episodes.
No.
Exciting with Game of Thrones this year is the Major League Baseball, of course, Game of Thrones night. And you can pre-order all the bobbleheads from the official manufacturer online ahead of time. They have the Ice Dragon for each team, the mascot for each team in the Iron Throne, and then, of course, the Ice King in uniform for each team. So check those out. They're a little on the pricier side. If you're in a town for a team you love, it might be better just going to the game that night to pick one up.
Cheaper to go to the game for sure.
Yeah.
Even if you buy beers there.
Grab some bleacher seats. You're good to go. Yeah. Game of Thrones, they're also going to have a Game of Thrones Oreo release. Interesting promotion. It's just regular Oreos with special Game of Thrones packaging. A little disappointing for me considering I like all the special Oreos, but
you're still going to buy all of them.
probably. And not until they run out of the most stuff ever Oreos, because those, oh my gosh, guys, those things are just pure heaven.
Do you dip them in milk?
No, you don't have to with the most stuff Oreos. The most stuff, have you had the most stuff ones yet? So it's it is like take 2 double stuffed Oreos and put them together. It's great.
But you don't dip them in milk.
I don't dip them. I'm not a big milk drinker.
So you should have crunchy cookies like a heathen.
Yes, I eat crunchy cookies.
Like there are cookies you can eat without milk. Oreos is not one of them.
Not one of them.
Oreos is the milk cookie.
So the only time I typically eat regular Oreos is when they are covered in deep fried funnel cake batter. As for the other special kind of Oreos, I just eat those regular.
I can literally hear your heart beating from here.
Mine? Over the excitement for those?
No, because of the amount of fucking shit you put in your body. I only eat Oreos with 4 times as much frosting in them, unless they're deep fried. Then I'll eat a regular one.
So the story goes, I think, what was it when I hit you guys up? Sunday night? So just a couple nights ago. And I said I pulled out, I had it stored. So I have a special cabinet in my kitchen that's just unopened junk food. It's over to the side, whole cabinet dedicated to it.
Right. That's the cabinet that looks like Iggy's parents left him $20 and went out of town for the weekend and he went to the grocery store.
About $100 actually. There's a lot more than $20 worth of junk food. So there's a number of sealed packages of Oreos in there. And I pulled one out saying, well, my daughter's going to be here on Wednesday. I'll eat a few in the meantime before she gets here. She can have them. The package is gone, by the way. We're not to Wednesday yet on that terms of recording. That's all right. I'll get out another package tonight and start the whole process over. We're getting off topic. Game of Thrones trailer. Check it out if you haven't. It's on Project Nerd. Interesting thing is we've seen initial trailers for both Dark Phoenix and Hellboy. Neither one really impressive, especially that Dark Phoenix one that was confusing and vague as hell. Well, the international Dark Phoenix trailer has come out, and they've definitely given us a little bit more to what's going on. And on the other side, Hellboy has released their Red Band trailer, which, let's be frank, it looks freaking awesome. So what are you guys thinking about those 2 films?
The new Hellboy is starting to really grow on me. They definitely, David Harbour, they've made him up to look a little bit more like comic book Hellboy. He's still bigger than comic book Hellboy, but he has that, I don't know if it's the lines of the face, but he has that kind of lankier look to him that Hellboy has in the comics.
And it has the shadows more, it's just, definitely looks more comic.
I'm a huge fan of Ian McShane being in any and all things, so he makes everything better. I won't say that Mila Jovovich makes everything better, but she has made many things better, and I think she'll be a fun, wacky villain. So I'm on board. I'm feeling it.
And Dark Phoenix?
Yeah.
Okay, so Bob, what's your thoughts on these?
I tell you, I'm not sure about Dark Phoenix. First of all, when your last preview kind of gives away one hell of a spoiler, it definitely going to defeat the purpose of the film. I think it's just going to be, for lack of a better word, too dark. That's going to be
Let's be honest here, though. The Dark Phoenix saga in the comics, we're not really given spoilers when she kills somebody. She kills a lot of people in the Dark Phoenix saga. And as we have learned, and we will learn here soon again at the end of April, beginning of May, they can come back. And they often do.
Often do. Nearly always do.
Yeah.
And especially considering they're going to get X-Men and the Avengers together.
No, they're going to get rebooted into Marvel Studios.
It's happening, Iggy. Don't worry.
There's the rumors are already out there that they are putting together a script for an X-Men versus Avengers movie, and I'm like,
don't do that.
That is too much, Bob. It's too much.
Yeah. Don't do that. But they're gonna. Those universes are colliding, and in that collision, everybody gets to be alive again. So,
Yeah. I'm going to go see it, yeah.
You're going to go see it, and you're going to buy 3 different versions of it, including the Steelbook. You know you are.
The Steelbook's going to look gorgeous. I can tell you that already.
It really is. It's going to look great.
I don't know that I'll go see it. I'll watch it eventually when it comes out, but I don't think I went and saw... I definitely didn't see Apocalypse in theaters.
I did not either.
I didn't either.
I did see Logan in theaters.
Mm-hmm. That one you had to. That was.
I know I saw First Class. I honestly can't remember if I saw Days of Future Past in the theater. I think I probably saw it in the theater, but I don't remember. I don't know. The X-Men series at Fox has been like the definition
Of clusterfuck?
Of high highs and low lows.
It's like Deadpool. I just get so confused with the timeline.
Yeah, the timeline, the recasting, and I think they've done an okay job in some cases, but like, and it's not necessarily their fault because we talk about comic books having weird, convoluted timelines and storylines and stuff like that, and Marvel has done a good job of taking a little bit of this storyline, a little bit of that storyline, a little bit of Ultimate Universe, a little bit main Marvel continuity, mixing it up, pulling out some stuff, adding some stuff, changing some characters, and making it work, but still staying true to the original story. X-Men, like, they pick these huge, super complex, convoluted, way out the fuck out there stories, tell a story that if you close one eye and tilt your head a little bit, kind of looks like the same story in the sense that some of the people are named the same.
Well, I'm excited for the Hellboy trailer now. And I know I was the most vocal of the four early on about being concerned about this one. So that new trailer definitely got me excited. I haven't seen this one yet, but the internet is freaking excited for this trailer. Shazam, Warner Brothers dropped a new one. I don't know, guys. We had a good hit with Wonder Woman. We had some fun with Aquaman. I feel like Warner Brother might have another fun hit right here.
I think it's going to be enjoyable.
I don't think it's going to be Wonder Woman good, but the trailers make it look fun. This trailer definitely, all the other trailers have kind of played up the whole, he's a kid who's a superhero and he's learning how to do it. This one is all like, let's show him doing cool action, cool stuff. So he's, punching bad guys and catching buses and flying, jumping over buildings and stuff. And
he's playing. This is the superhero preview that we.
This is the special effects trailer.
And we aren't too far away from that being released as well. That'll be first weekend in April, if I remember correctly.
About a month or so, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Captain Marvel, and then a month later, the Captain Marvel universe returns, but on the DC side. All right. So, video game time.
All right.
Also, by the way, we'll add that to the tracker. Okay, video game time. Anthem troubles continue. Oh, no.
So, Anthem had a rough launch, to say the least. Like, I know a lot of people who've super enjoyed it. I've played quite a bit of it and had a decent amount of fun. There's parts of it that annoy me, but it's a cool looter shooter. The flying's fun and neat like that. But the people who don't like it have been very vocal about they're not liking it. And there have been quite a few glitches and bugs and balance issues and some other stuff. But now, and the only reason I bring this one up because it actually happened to be on launch day and I didn't think anything of it, didn't say anything about it. So apparently if you have the PS4 version of Anthem, which I do, the game will randomly crash, but not just like crash and kick you back out to the main loading screen of PS4. It will straight shut down your PS4 like you unplugged it from the wall. So that you have to go and push the button to turn it back on. And when it comes back on, it gives you that message that we've all seen before if you've lost power, where your PlayStation is like, do not ever unplug this thing if it's in rest mode, because that could ruin your PS4. Now we're going to sit here and
you got to do a disc check. Yeah.
Now we're going to sit here and check your disc to make sure you didn't mess anything up. But now there's actually a game that's doing this to people's consoles. There's also been reports online of people actually bricking their machines because it crashed at just the wrong time. To the point where now Sony is actually issuing refunds for Anthem who people who bought it digitally on PS4 who have been affected by the issue. And I got to be honest, I'm kind of tempted to get my $60 back because it definitely happened to me. Only because if this kind of negative press happens, I will be able to then rebuy it in a week or two for $30.
Yeah.
So,
and they're not only giving you back the refunds, they're giving it back, no questions asked. Those of us who used to work at Best Buy, you can't return that game, because of
That's
copyright
right.
issues.
Opened media does not get returned. Exactly.
Right.
This is
Here,
a big deal.
With this, it doesn't matter. They're not asking any questions. They're just spat out saying, "Okay, here's your money back."
Tyler's got a good strategy there.
Well, I mean, if you've played it, you've sent an error report to Sony. So even if they were checking, they could check and be like, "Oh yeah, it's
but what I've read
is they're not even a shady motel."
They're not even checking. They're just okay. You're having those issues. Okay, fine.
Because we're borderline here. This isn't a game crash and we're going to issue a bug fix. This is borderline lawsuit territory here.
Right.
That's exactly why they're not playing around. They're like, yeah, we'll give you money back because the lawsuit will be a lot more expensive.
Exactly.
Which is just, it's disappointing because BioWare historically has made some really amazing games, but and I don't want to put this on EA, but EA's easy to hate. Like they're one of the most, disliked companies in the world, but now there's all the think pieces coming out in all the articles, and I'm sure Kotaku or someone will get an exclusive for former employees that says here's what really happened behind, just like we got when after all the people from Destiny got fired, but how much of this was EA saying, I don't care if it's not finished, fucking ship the game. Like, you have to get this on shelves tomorrow. Because this is typically, I mean, there's been a lot of bugs, and anytime you have a big, massive multiplayer online game with multiple classes and loot and stuff, there's going to be misbalances. There's going to be things that need to be tweaked and fixed. But typically, AAA gold certified titles don't ship with bugs that will brick the console they're being played on.
Well, the funny thing is that everybody around the game talked about when they postponed it, it was for those types of things, those balancing type issues, because it was supposed to come out last fall and they pushed it back to the spring. But their comment was that, no, we could ship it in November. It's fine. It's ready to go. You can play it right now. And it's perfectly okay. 4 months later, it's shutting and literally turning $400 machines into paperweights. So
that's why they're like, we could have still shipped it in November. Same problem.
Same issues. Yeah, no problem.
And see, guys, this is one of the reasons why I don't play many video games. Is because of issues like this.
When's the last time this happened?
This is why you don't play big multiplayer games when they first come out. You give it a minute. Some of these are slightly more egregious than what happened to Destiny 1. Destiny 1 was a really good game quite a while after it came out. Like, it was a good game at launch.
Well, you had to get all the way to the start of year 2 for it as well. Forsaken is really where they got the improvement. She had 2 DLCs in year 1 for Destiny 2 as well.
You heard it here first, guys. Start of year 2 of Anthem, and it'll be the best game out there.
So a little bit more somber news. Always tough to talk about these, but at the beginning of the week, we did have a trio of celebrity passings, including Luke Perry after a stroke last week. Unfortunately, sad to see him go. And I think we talked about in the group, Fifth Element, Buffy, the movie, guys, the movie Buffy. So don't make fun. Anyways, and then, of course, Keith Flint, the lead man of Prodigy. And as we were talking about also in the group, we were just the right age, right time for that type of music. It was perfect when it came out for the transition. Unfortunately, like many other musicians, Keith Flint took his life way too young. And then one that may not be normally talked about on a geek podcast, but I think it's huge. Terrible Ted Linsdsay from the NHL. One of considered the most gentleman of men and the nicest people. But on the ice, he was terrible Ted because he terrorized people, led the league in penalty minutes for many years. But he did the big thing that for him is he helped co-found the NHLPA, the Players Association, which at that time, all of these leagues, before they had players associations, the owners kind of just did whatever they wanted, walked all over these people. I know people complain, they make all this money and all this money. It's only fair that the players make a good chunk of what that industry is bringing in. So it's those players in those leagues that started those players associations definitely owe that to. And last bit of news before we cruise on into final thoughts. Adam, I think you'll be excited for this. You might have to go pick up a 4K player now. Alien 40th anniversary 4K release. The big news is brand new 4K restoration just done here at the end of 2018. It's going to be a whole new look.
It's a gorgeous movie already. Like, I mean, the sets, the layouts, play between shadow and light.
But there's going to be more shadow and more light now.
Right.
This would be like
that's the commercial they need to do for it, Bob. More shadows and now more light.
This is like the 8th version of Alien I've bought, though.
So you're going to get the Xbox One X so that way you can have a 4K?
No.
No?
Well, you can't buy a Samsung 4K player anymore.
You can. You just can't get a new one.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right, guys. So, Bob, since you're talking, why don't you get us started this evening with our final thoughts?
One thing I've kind of heard today, that this year they will finally come out with speaking of 4K, a 4K version of The Abyss. It is, the 40th anniversary of the film, I believe. And they're talking that it should be out by the end of the year. It is also the 35th anniversary of True Lies, and they're talking about a 4K version of that. That one may not come out this year, but I would be definitely picking up The Abyss day one.
Bob picking up a movie day one?
No, never.
All right, Tyler, what you got for us and some final thoughts?
I guess we'll do a book. Let's do a book. I just finished Ann Leckie's newest book, The Raven's Tower, just came out.
All right, Adam, what you got for us?
Play some video games. You got Division 2 coming out.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because yours and Tyler's first line for every final thought, like you don't even have to say it anymore. I can just splice it in from the previous episodes.
And you should. No, I mean, these are things that people need to do. We encourage people to partake in things that they love, and that's what Tyler loves books. I love video games.
Specifically Anthem on PS4 right now. We definitely
Well, I mean, you
might
not want to do that. That's Iggy's going to get us sued now. Don't do that. But there are plenty of good games out there, and you got The Division coming out as well. So it had a very, very good beta this past weekend, and so next weekend you can, shoot some people with your friends. It's good times.
Shoot some people with your friends. That's good time. Yeah, I'm the one getting us sued. All right. So my final thought is bringing up, I kind of hinted at it earlier for the 2018 class, I guess, of Academy. I don't know what you call them. You added new members to the Academy itself. Largest and most diverse class to date, guys. 928 new members have been added. 49% of them were women. 38% people of minorities, or people of color, minorities and stuff, and 59 countries represented in that group of people. Heading in the right direction. Still a long ways to go, but they're heading in the right direction for sure. Other than that, we will be at, again, Captain Marvel this weekend, and we're just a few weeks ahead of Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City. Check us out in the coming weeks. We'll have our panel announcements, but you can go over to planetcomiccon.com right now and see the panels. We have one Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Our podcast one on Friday, a live podcast one on Saturday, and then our very popular business one on Sunday. Of course, we'll be in the Planet Entertainment Zone doing all the interviews and the streaming and the stage presentation and the ballroom stuff and all the fun stuff. We're going to be busy, guys. We're going to be busy, but it'll be fun. In the meantime, interviews are starting to drop from the Front Range Film Festival. Check it out. We'll be at the Lions Film Festival also the weekend after Planet Comic-Con. All right, guys, I'm going to sign us out there. Episode 186 of the Nerdcast. Until next time.
Hey, Pro Nerds, thanks for listening to the podcast. If you like the Nerdcast and other amazing Project Nerd podcasts, please go give us a subscription, a like, a review, wherever you find us, as we need your love and support to continue making awesome content. Next week, we'll be back with another great episode of the Nerdcast, as well as other original Project Nerd podcasts.